I am no Jedi. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now.
We have a lot of work to do.
Once a rebel, always a rebel.
Okay, explorers, welcome to episode 7 of our Ahsoka recap. And as always, I'm joined by Jimmy and Taylor.
Hello.
Before we go any further, obviously, if you've not watched the episode, watch Ahsoka episode 7 first, because this is going to be spoiler heavy.
Spoilerific.
Yes,
So,
it is.
As we go in then, just a quick summarise of our thoughts overall on the episodes. I'll start us off, and then Taylor will come straight to you.
Okay.
We'll try and summarise it in a few words without giving too much away straight away. But overall, I thought the episode was very strange. So more on that shortly. What about you, Taylor?
I liked it. It was all over the place, but there were so many good mentions of like characters and little sayings and stuff, and I liked it. I really liked it. I think the director Geeta Vasant Patel. I don't know what else she's done, but so far this has been a unique episode.
She has done Blue Crush, House of the Dragon,
Okay.
The Great, The Magicians, Runaways. There's a couple other ones. Santa Clarita, Superstore. I mean, she has been in the final season of The Mindy Project, Speechless. A lot of sitcoms. Not a lot of action in here, but a lot of sitcoms. So I thought she did well.
Maybe that's why it was jumping back and forth so much.
Yeah, I think so. For me, I know the talk is about all these characters coming to live action. I think that Rebels has come to live action in this episode.
It's true.
Yeah, so I wrote that down. Rebels has come live action. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with the first scene then. So again, from this point forwards, major spoilers. If you've not watched the episode, go and watch the episode. And then obviously come and tune in. So, first scene then opens up on what we think or we know is Coruscant, I believe, in like some sort of council chamber where Hera's explaining her actions in front of the council. Now, quick few Easter eggs. Yeah, quick few Easter eggs that we that are noticed. Was that Neo Num from the Falcon at the start, or was it just one of the species?
Philippies.
are you saying that all Solisons look alike, Jack?
They look very similar.
I saw a female one sitting in the back there, and her like lip flippies are a lot more flippy.
Yeah.
Her lip flippies are a little bit more flippy. You've heard it here first, folks.
There you go. Sorry.
I don't know. That could have been. I mean, he makes it all the way to the Rise of Skywalker, and they say that he survived, even though he was flying the Tantive 4 that looked like it was about to crash. So yeah, that's a good. I guess I wasn't paying attention to the background as much, knowing Jack was back.
And then
Jack will cover the background.
Yeah. And then obviously, you'd know now if you've watched the episode, the famous C-3PO joins us, obviously with his reasons, and then obviously that's got me starting to think: were we on the inside? Did we have some insider information? Obviously, we've just dropped the droid episode yesterday or today, depending on what your time zone is. And it started off with droids. So what did we all think of the first scene?
You can go, Jimmy.
Go ahead. Oh, okay. Well, I've got a lot of notes. Again, episode 7, Dreams and Madness. I believe that's what
Dreams and
Balin
Madness
called Peridia. So that was kind of cool. The music, again, different, kind of leads us right into it. Coruscant looked amazing. And then I have in big capital letters, I hate Xiono.
What a...
Yeah. Setting up the First Order, because he's just turning a blind eye. I'd be curious to know if he's working with the First Order. I see why, again, I said it last time he was on there, I see why his son bolted. Hera looks fit. Not trying to be inappropriate, but well done, Obi-Wan Kenobi. and she's in that uniform. So I was like, "Whoa, Hera, you look good." And then, of course, C-3PO comes in, does his thing, and he announces that Princess Leia, the leader of the Defense Council. So I thought that
Yeah.
was something. And it's been a long time since I've read Bloodline, and I was kind of wondering, maybe some of our listeners know, is that the position she held in the Bloodline book before she gets outed? And
No,
then, of
I
course,
actually
with
just finished reading that, and it doesn't
so
say the leader of the
doesn't.
Defense Council. There isn't one, so I don't know what that is.
And then I put Chopper is going to cut Ziono. He's like, like
He starts barking.
so.
He's like,
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna come right, like. So
what's
I
that
thought
about
that was a
droids?
cool opening. Yeah, Mir Droid. I thought it was cool. It was a nice intro. It was a cool, seeing 3PO. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was nervous that they were gonna do, Princess Leia was gonna come around the corner. But I was like, there's no way that
Yeah,
they're gonna do this. But I was like, maybe a hologram was gonna pop up and it was gonna be her. But given the circumstances, I really liked how they incorporated Leia Organa into that scene. So that's
yeah,
that's how I felt about the first scene. Yeah, it was really good. I
right.
enjoyed it. Good start.
Yeah, and she's a busy lady. She can't be at every single meeting. So, and in the Bloodline book, she's had 3PO with her for like forever. So, like, he's always in the castle somewhere, even when she's back on Alderaan. So, it would make sense that he's like right there with her and that he comes in like, I don't need to tell you who I am. And it's funny because that's exactly how Anthony Daniels would be if he was at any convention ever. So you can just see his character coming like right through, and that I love seeing C-3PO in it because I love C-3PO, and I've met Anthony Daniels and like chatted with him, and I don't know, just seeing him on this show that we're watching that we're so into right now got me really excited. And I think one of you guys did mention that that we were going to see him on today's episode. Was it you, Jimmy?
Yeah,
It was Jimmy. Yeah.
there was some stuff going around. I try not to get into spoilers, but I
Yeah.
saw something by accident, and they said that there's a possibility, and it fit. So I didn't think it was too forced. And again, I think it did what it's supposed to do, and it
It
falls
totally
in line. I'm
fit.
hoping, and I think Hank the Tank will be very excited because he got his two favorite droids, Chopper and C-3PO, in the same shot. So I'm
Oh my
excited to
gosh,
talk
you're
to Hank.
right. Wow, Hank.
So
Oh my
There's
god.
there's a few things I think the young Padawan called yet again. So
yeah, he's.
Hank's wise words.
You can feel the world between worlds of Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you guys think of that opening?
I really liked it. I
Yeah,
thought it
it
was
was
decent.
yeah, it was good. They want us to hate Ziono. Like he's like this is ridiculous, and like apparently he held the vote for Hera's mission, like without Leia being there. So he's already like sneaking around the Senate and doing stuff as he shouldn't be doing, right?
Yeah.
And he's just so rude. And even at the end of the whole meeting, um, Mon Mothma comes up like, okay, so no, seriously, how serious is this Thrawn threat?
Yeah.
And Hera's like, it's happening now, and we need to be prepared for it. And Mon Mothma's like, okay, like I know, I just got to convince all these guys, like,
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
It just goes to show, like you're saying, Jimmy, the First Order's already got its roots, I think, into the council already. There's a few of them on the payroll.
Yeah.
Yeah. This really the turning that blind eye already, and that's a good job by Favreau and Filoni and those guys writing this into there. Like, it may not solve all the problems of the prequel trilogies for everybody, but it's showing live action wise how the First Order is able to come crawl up behind the scenes because no one wants to. Again, it goes, and I hate to drop the history thing, but it's like, well, Jack, you would know, between World War I and World War II, your prime minister is like, oh, no, we've got nothing to worry about. We've got nothing to worry about. Here, Hitler, take this. Here, Hitler, take that. They just didn't want to fight another war, that appeasement level. And so, it always mirrors real life. But I think that this shows, like, this is, I feel like this is the time period between, we call it here in the States interwar years between World War I and World War II. And I feel like that's what this is right now. And it's just showing the same kind of apathy towards I understand not wanting to fight and not wanting to go through another war, but someone's going to have to be Churchill, and I think it's going to be Leia.
Yeah. Good analogy.
Hard for the
I like
history
it.
lessons.
Good. That's a good analogy. I really like that.
No, but yeah. Anything else on that first and the intro you guys want to chat about?
I think that's about it, really. I mean, obviously we had the obvious things and the Easter eggs. But yeah, I think it pretty much tied it down and nailed it, and started now the ball rolling for the New Republic to start doing something, which is going to be interesting, because I think there could be more to seeing a Phoenix Squadron later.
Oh yeah,
more on that in the prediction show, I think.
Yeah. Oh, we got a Moff Gideon mention in that first scene.
Yeah, that's just reminded. So we were talking about it. This now is what it's tied it in, and obviously Moff Gideon having the war on Mandalore's happened. So season 3 finale just happened. So now the next episode from Ahsoka is the one that's going to be in front of both seasons, if that makes sense. So they're doing a great job of keeping it in track.
Yeah. I thought they did a really good job with little tidbits here and there throughout the show. This again, setting up the story. So very cool. All right, let's hop into the next scene.
Cool. Yeah. So the next scene then, Sora's goes straight to Ahsoka on the Jedi shuttle, obviously training again under tutelage from Anakin Skywalker. You can see when she opens that locker, she's got loads of clips. So obviously she's still using Anakin as a master, a bit of a guidance. And I thought it was good to see as well. He's still making an appearance, obviously. So just shows how big of an influence he was and is still in her training.
Yeah.
I thought all the way through this episode, from this point onward, every time we saw Ahsoka, there's just something different about her. Like she's grown again.
Yeah, this time for sure. You can see it in her movements and her face expressions. Right?
Yeah.
The way she joked while Huang, I have notes on that. So like it's kind of just, she seems more like the character that from Clone Wars before she gets burned by the Jedi Order kind of deal. So
exactly,
it's kind of cool
like
to see.
she's getting back to her. Yeah, she's getting back to her like old personality, and like even like her fighting styles are like more relaxed and calm, and like, but she's not just like, she's not bitter. She doesn't have that angry face on the whole time. And like she said that she has like over 20 of these recordings that Anakin recorded for her, so he kind of knew something was going to happen. And he's like, if anything ever happens to me, like this, you can do this all without me. And it's like, I don't know. You can tell he knows something's going on. He's, he's married. He's probably got something going, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, Ahsoka, be ready. But like he mentions Grievous and Dooku, and we get a Ventress mention as well from
I was
Anakin.
real excited about that.
And like he's recording this during the Clone Wars. Like he's got the whole like Clone Wars garb on. He's awesome, and he's like talking about stuff that's happening back then. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's so cool. Like Ahsoka's just she's training to be Ahsoka the White now, and so cool.
Yeah,
you can tell she's growing again. Yeah.
The only thing it was weird. I don't know, weird or not. It was different. Was the kata she was doing with the lightsabers seemed really like stiff and not flowy to me. I wasn't real sure. I don't know a lot about sword play or anything like that, but it didn't really flow. And she seems more like Taylor. What you said, like everything seems to be flowing out of her because, like, fast forward to her and Balin. She seemed to like flow a lot better, but I just thought that was a little weird. It seemed kind of, but I'm sure there was a reason for it that I just don't know. Probably something to do with samurai, given that whole background. So if listeners, a little bit more than I do, maybe let me know. I'd be curious as to know why the movements were so stiff. I'm not sure why that kind of jumped out at me so much, but I was kind of distracted by Anakin. So
I think there's like a secret message there as well with Anakin. It's shown that the amount of detail and actually training that he did to Ahsoka, but more for that title of Jedi Master. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I watch it, I thought he should have got that title as a Jedi Master, without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, it just shows the Council's The council's a mess at that point. We can get into that some other time, but yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole show on
It's
its
a
own.
good little homage to the reasons why Anakin's so better, because you sort of start seeing it through his eyes now. I think, well, why didn't he get that title? But yeah. Then we moved on to obviously the whales and that going into the minefield, and I think every Star Wars fan in the universe was praying that we didn't see a dead whale.
Oh my gosh, absolutely! I was like, I was legit nervous when he wings, and now I'm like, oh god, like I don't want to see this happening. And so I was definitely.
I was
that
expecting
scene
to see
ended.
some whale blubber all over space.
Yeah, I put yeah. I guess I expected it to be like blaster fire and stuff, and that whole minefield thing caught me by surprise, and it kind of gave me like almost like a Moby Dick kind of feel, where they're hunting the whales and really painting because I mean everyone loves these Purgles, so it's just making everyone dislike Thrawn and Enoch, and that just that much more, So I kind of got the you get that.
I was at the stage there, and again, I was thinking about Hank and thinking, if we're going to see loads of dead whales here, poor Hank and kids are going to have PTSD. PTSD to death.
Oh my god!
But one thing that I did notice and sort of go, that could be a problem later, is obviously all the Purgles, they left.
Yeah, I was the same thing, like, uh-oh.
And where did they go? God knows, obviously, but how are they going to get back now? So...
Well, Thrawn hasn't left yet, so they're going to be like...
Man, I had a friend text me right before we got on, said, next episode is going to be like 2 hours long.
Oh, yeah.
To wrap everything up. There's no way this is one season. I'm calling it right. I mean, I think we called it a long time ago, but there's no way.
I think now, again, we'll sort of leave it for the prediction show, but I agree with Jimmy. I sort of agree with Jimmy, and I sort of don't agree with Jimmy, because I think it will be one season, and I think the next bit will be the movie, but it's sort of what Hank's saying as well. But we'll go into that in the predictions. I thought obviously they did a great job with the mines and the ship going for everything, but what I liked about this bit now was it was showing Thrawn and his tactical map, his thinking.
Oh, yeah. I thought this was... a really, like, I know everyone's like, oh, it was a good introduction. This was Thrawn. People who don't know Thrawn, they now understand how this man operates and thinks, and why he's so one step ahead, turning defeat into victories. I mean, nothing gets in this guy's way. But before we get to that, though, I thought that we reported on our show about the T6 and John Goodson's work on that. I thought the T6 looked incredible, phenomenal, flying through all that stuff, and I just thought about all that work on that model. 4 months of building that ship really paid off. I thought it looked amazing. Flying through those debris fields, getting Empire Strikes Back vibes from the asteroid field. Floating potatoes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just throw some out there.
But no, totally agree. Yeah, the ship itself was awesome. And just going back to the front stuff as well, like you said, he sort of turns defeat into victory. But what we saw from Thrawn now, for the people that do know him, is his desperation, but also this serious lack of resources. Every opportunity he had, he was like, we're calling it back, we'll call them back. So you can see the desperations there, and they really are struggling for troops and resources. Go on, Jimmy.
Well, no, I think we can talk about it later once we get into the night troopers and stuff. But because I was going to say something, but yeah, Thrawn looked real nervous though when I was waiting and anticipating him finding out it was Anakin, and he's like, he took a dig on the Jedi about what did he say about the Jedi, about hiding or something like that. He took a shot at the Jedi. Now I can't remember what he said, but then he said that if Anakin Skywalker's her master, she could be unpredictable and dangerous, just like he was. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I put Thrawn being Thrawn.
I thought he was going to be like, let's invite her in for tea. Like, and then he even and then he even mentions like, oh, like, I guess this is the best we can do with the lack of having Lord Vader with us here. And like, he's just like, to Morgan Elsbeth, like, I don't know. She's trying so hard to impress him.
Yeah, and she's pretty mean.
She's just sitting there like, please, please, please.
I'll
Yeah.
do anything for you.
Yeah.
Again, he must have some sort of pact with the Great Mothers, because he calls upon them quite a lot using their dark magic. So
Yeah.
there's something going on there. Something I noticed as well.
Exactly.
Is,
find the Jedi, find their ship. Like,
yeah.
they're
So
telling him that Ahsoka's coming.
there's something going on there. Like, for him to keep calling on that, and for them to just willingly use it, he's got to sort of sold his soul or something. I think there's something there. And if you notice as well, when the troopers were running to the ships and everything, obviously they've got all like the red band on it. The Great Mothers, they're covered in those red bands, which obviously leads me to believe that those red bands are covering up the cracks, etc., and holding the zombie troopers or the night troopers together.
We'll
That's
talk
a good
about it
shout.
when we get to that.
We haven't
We'll talk about
we haven't
that, I
seen
think,
any of their
when we get
faces
there.
yet, so
So we'll see.
So yeah, and
there.
that was pretty much that little scene or scenes wrapped up. 'Cause I think from there, then we went down to Balon and Shin.
The RV park. I wrote RV park. All the old people headed to Florida in their
the
little
armored caravans.
Yes.
In my time,
That's perfect.
at the Grand Canyon, I swear I've seen some of those RVs putting about.
Yeah, the streamlines.
Yeah.
Those streamline RV pull behinds. Yep, absolutely. So that's the first thing that popped into my head is look, a bunch of senior citizens headed to Florida.
Yeah,
going to the warmer weather. So I put in the scene, because we get like what Ezra and them talking. Ezra is super patient. He has been training, and it's going to come up later. But he's just like, if I was waiting 9 years for people, I would have want to know everything that was going on. How the heck we're getting off this planet? Blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, complicated. Cool. Yeah. I'm like, this
is what frustrated me. So at this point now, I start to get a little frustrated, because I was like, I didn't like how little Ezra knew, and I didn't like how he wasn't desperate to get off. I mean, he's just got Sabine. The first thing I'd be thinking if I got exiled on a planet is, right, get me off this rock.
Yeah.
So he seemed a little bit too relaxed for me, if I'm honest. And also, again, and it's frustrated me, is what is with Jedis being in exile for so long and not wanting their lightsaber.
Well, he didn't need it. I know we're gonna get to it, but
that was so good.
It was pretty cool. Kind of like that one scene we saw from the Acolyte trailer.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I thought, man, Jack's gonna be loving this.
Yeah.
So, but Taylor, what did you think about all that?
I liked when Ezra they didn't have Sabine explain it all to him. He's just like, okay, so Battle of Endor, and the Emperor died, and she's like, that's what they said. Like,
I like that. I like that little jab.
Yeah, that's what people say. Zeb's training the New Republic recruits, so we know where Zeb is right now, and they talk about Hera a little bit. But during this conversation, it's got the view of like Sabine looking kind of at Ezra, and she has a mega hickey on her neck.
I saw that, and I was like, what is going on? She does have a mark on her neck. I don't know. Maybe she has.
What have they been doing in that little toe behind trail?
I wonder if that's just something like a bruise or something that they didn't cover up.
So.
But yeah,
I guess so. Like they wouldn't just let an act. What's that? Weird. Oh, what are you guys doing? So I saw that.
Probably got jacked up in like one of the fight scenes or something when they're practicing.
Yeah, maybe. I did like after that when Balon and Shin were talking, and the cracks are really forming there now.
Yeah,
I have some stuff written down.
Like, what is
Balon on?
Go on.
No, go ahead, bud. Sorry.
It's like, what is Balon's plan still? No idea. We're 7 episodes in.
I was. Yeah, like I'm getting a little nervous because, again, I think we're headed to a season 2, or maybe they're bringing his part of stuff into the movie, which they're not going to be able to do now. I mean, you could recast. That's something we'll talk about later once the season ends. But I was getting a little at the end. I was like, that was my only thing. Was like, oh, and Molly's like, what? And I was like, I still don't know what Balin's up to. Like, what is he doing? And that's why I think next week's episode's got to be long. Like they've got to give us something. I don't know, but I put Balin on Howler. I need that Funko.
That'll be a seller.
And question for you guys. I don't know. I know, Jack, for you it's 2:00 in the morning, so I guarantee no one's watching with you. But Molly always watches with me, and I know Taylor, you'll go back and you'll watch it with your husband after we're done here. Molly's like, I don't like the Great. Molly did not like the witches. She goes, they're too evil for Star Wars.
They creep me out.
They're not part of Star Wars. And I tried to explain to her, like, oh, they're in Clone Wars. And she goes, no, that doesn't feel like Star Wars to me. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't know as much as we know, and she's a good soul, and she's like, they're just too evil. So I mean, they're doing their job, but I just thought that was, and I was like, oh no, and I kind of pushed back a little bit, like, well, no, like that's her opinion, like they are too evil for her in Star Wars. So I wonder what you guys think. Like would that scare your daughters, or you know what I mean? Like,
mate, I had the exact same thoughts as Molly, where it come to the three of them, and then she opened her eyes, it was pitch black. I started having like the nun vibes.
Oh yeah,
I thought these are really dark for Star Wars. This is dark.
Yeah,
that's cool. I'm glad to.
If it's like the same, if Dave Filoni was kind of basing this off of the Three Witches of the Fates, then they're kind of doing a good job, because I watched Hercules, the cartoon, with my daughter a couple of I think last night actually. Yeah, and I'm like hugging my daughter on the couch as they're like pulling the string tight, and then they're like dink, and then what? My soul comes down or whatever. But I was thinking like, hey, so they are kind of evil, I guess. But
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to kind of do the same thing, maybe not as cartoony, but I watched that.
Yes,
but yeah, they would probably scare my kid for sure, like the black eyes.
I was just curious. Don't get us off track, but I like when Molly says things like that and gives a perspective that obviously I don't have, because I'm like, oh yeah, they're part of Star Wars, but moving on.
I literally thought the exact same, mate.
Jack, I think this should be your quote for the end of the show, but final lesson: impatience for victory or guaranteed defeat. Sounds like something Kenobi would have said to Anakin at some point.
Yeah, I wrote that one down. That's a good one.
That was good.
That was going to be the one, but you stole it, and I need to think of a new one.
But what does he say?
There's no way we could talk about that, though. Like, I thought that was
a brilliant line.
It was so good. Yeah, and Balin says to Shin, he says, your ambition drives you in one direction. My path lies on another. So it's like, he's like, okay, good. Go kill them. Go tell Thrawn that you found them, and I'm out of here. And she's like, what?
I didn't know what's going on.
This makes sense to the last episode where Balon had mentioned that he'd trained her for some other reason. Because obviously she mentioned about being trained or like the Jedi or something, and he said, no, I've not trained you like that at all. I've trained you for another reason.
Trained you to be more.
So he's trained her / he's used her as well. I think she's sort of realising now that she's lost. She doesn't know who to follow.
Oh, she's very lost by the end of this episode. I almost felt bad for her. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, that was really powerful. Those two together, man, they're so. We're such a good team. Mm. Yeah, I didn't. I thought like, oh, this is going to be a cool part when we first saw them and at Celebration. But man, they just, there's something about those two that's just awesome. It's so cool, so enjoyable. So,
and then from there, we went straight into the Battle of the Armored Caravans. Cool, yeah. So the Battle of the Armored Caravans, then. So the Noti or Noti.
Notis.
I absolutely loved them. I thought they were hilarious. I love the little armored shell when they get hunkered down. Throwing the pots and pans and the rocks again reminded me like a little nod to the Ewoks.
They sound like the Ewoks. Like when they're all talking in the background of Ezra and Sabine talking, it's like that's Ewoks.
But there was something that sort of made me look twice, where Ezra was talking their language, and then when it finally stopped, he spoke English to one of them and told him to get in. I was like, well, what are you talking? Naughty to him or English or what?
Maybe
yeah. I don't think I
Noti to
noticed
all
that,
of the other ones, and then
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like trying to teach the one English. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. So when
Did you like?
they're battling, obviously he's shouting out orders and commands, and then he's doing it in like their language. And then when they finally stop to get out, he just tells him, "You stay inside. I'll handle this."
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. No,
I
I
guess he
remember
says
that. That's
both.
true.
But yeah,
So,
it's good little
um,
homage to the Ewoks. What did you think of the battle scene, Jimmy?
I thought it was cool. The gunships come flying in,
Mm.
just straight out of Andor. So I like the symmetry between the shows and
Yeah,
showing that, like, because they would have disappeared right about the time of Andor,
Yeah,
right? So they're still using those technologies, those drop gunships. I really like the fact that that little Noti pops up with a slingshot, giving
oh my god.
Ezra Bridger callbacks from the beginnings of Rebels. So I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. And it's how it dinks off it. And that's what I wrote down here. Very Star Wars, lots of different battles going on. It felt like the end of a Star Wars movie with Ahsoka's doing her thing. They're doing their thing. Thrawn's over here. Balin and Shin are here. And it was like, oh, there's all this stuff going on. And that might have led to some of the stuff you were talking about, Jack, where you thought it was like kind of jumping all over the place. But I
yeah,
enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun. You know, but yeah, it was enjoyable. Like I said, like I feel like this was Rebels come to live action, and this
It
was a big
was.
part of that. Kind of doing. I mean, it was kind of a silly scene.
yeah,
It wasn't I didn't think like there's a whole lot of like threat to anyone really going down except for maybe the Raiders, and I was really hoping
Yeah.
the Noti didn't get hurt.
I wasn't
Which
even
yeah,
afraid
you
of
know,
that in that situation.
so
Like you could just
yeah.
tell. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it
yeah,
was a fun little scene, and um, it got everybody where they needed to be. And I thought like this episode has kind of done that. Like it just kind of kept
Mm.
pushing things forward, and everything's kind of happening. And there's nothing
yeah.
that I don't think is like, oh, why they do that? Like, or why they do that? Like everything kind of is driving it towards where it
Yeah.
needs to be. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like that.
it was all going in the same direction. I think with the Noti as well, and this comes from fans like you, Jimmy, the older generation. That you guys were kids when obviously, or teenagers when Return of the Jedi came out, and you were scarred. I know I was scarred when we seen the little Ewok die.
Oh my
So
gosh,
that would be in the
I
back of your
still have
memory.
issues with. I mean, that's probably why I was nervous because like, oh my
Yeah,
god, it's
that's
gonna
what
be
we're
like
getting
that
at.
one.
PTSD strikes again from
Yeah.
Star Wars. Um,
Oof.
but yeah, from
Good.
from there, obviously the caravan come to a halt, and Ezra finally got off with Sabine, and we started to see a bit more action from Ezra. At this point, again, I started to get frustrated, and I was just begging Ezra to take his lightsaber. And when she finally offered it to him, and he said no, I was having flashbacks of Luke Skywalker from
Oh
Force
no.
Awakens and
Yeah, they're like, take
The
it.
Last
No,
Jedi. And
no,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
please, you've not seen your lightsaber for how many years? The first thing you'd want to do is like get this bad boy swinging again.
You would think
Yeah.
so, but he seems like he's well. I mean, with the way he fights without it was really
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
The
Taylor,
Force is his ally.
yeah,
Who
one hundred
says
yes,
that?
percent.
that was the force
Yeah,
is
he's like,
my yeah,
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 the
yeah.
Force is my ally. I don't need any weapons. And it's like, is that from the High Republic? It must
No, I
be.
think it's from Rogue One with Chewett on One with the Force. The Forces would be that guy.
But
Yeah.
he does, yeah. The force is my
But
ally.
yeah, like you were saying, Jimmy, if that's the sort of stuff to come in the Acolyte, I cannot wait for that
Ooh,
because he
yeah.
handled himself well. But again, with how much he handled himself and the use of his force, I mean, he was pretty powerful in Rebels. To be fair, anyway,
Yeah.
he's obviously kept himself in shape and been training.
Mhm.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
he's like pulling Sabine out of the way from getting shot
Yeah,
at. He's like pushing people and just like turning them in the right ways. And he's so good
yeah.
at fighting without a
But
It was
lightsaber,
really
without
Shin,
any
cool.
weapons.
but Shin still came down and laid one on him and chucked him away, which I thought
He's
Yeah.
was
not going to shave his head
hilarious.
again. He's not going to shave his head again, is he? Oh no.
Oh no, who
Oh,
knows? Who knows?
he's like
But yeah,
close.
and again, he could handle himself well. And when he got the blaster, were the little Rambo vibes, so he's
When
doing
he
pretty well with that
finally
Yeah.
again.
took it.
And again, as soon as the scene went to Sabine, I was screaming in my head. Obviously, not at 2:30 in the morning. It was ignite that saber, and she got it going straight
Yeah.
away and just impaled someone. I was like,
That's
yes,
the second
Yeah.
time where she's kind of struggled with her blasters, and then they're really
yeah,
pushing her because that we didn't really talk about Ahsoka calling to her. Almost a Luke and Leia mirror with,
I got
at the end
that.
of
Yeah.
Empire.
Oh,
And she's calling for Sabine. Sabine hears her, talks back. Obviously, she's in a trance because Ezra's trying to get her to wake up. And
yeah.
so,
But
I think they're really selling that.
I feel a lot of this new stuff that's coming out is putting paper over the cracks for not the mistakes, but some of the stuff that was questioned in like The Last Jedi and Force Awakens, with the connection from Snoke to Kylo Ren to Rey, and now because we're seeing it more, it's become more of the normal. Like, again, going back to the previous episodes where Ahsoka was in space, is sort of trying to normalise Leia being in space, so to speak. So I think they're trying to, again, because that's where a lot of the issues were, I think. So I think that's Dave's sly little way of saying this is normal Star Wars sort of thing with the connections. But yeah, I digged it. I like the connection stuff. And then obviously we had our girl Ahsoka sweeping.
Just jumps
What did you think of that, Taylor?
It was awesome. She steals Balin's howler.
Yeah.
And just like races in, and Shin's just so caught off guard, like and then Ahsoka beats her and then offers to help her. Like, I'll help you. Come with, like, here, come with me. Like, it's like, and Shin's just like, what? No? And she just takes off.
Yeah.
Like a child. But she's so confused. Like, she's like, what?
She's really lost, I think, now. At this point, she's lost.
I think she is mirroring Ahsoka from the end of season, was it 5 of Clone Wars, when Ahsoka gets thrown out. She's just lost her master. She's who knows what's going on with, she's confused by the retreat of the troopers. I wrote in my notes, the last thing I have in my notes is Shin is lost.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I wonder, what's to stop her from coming over to Ahsoka's side? I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't roll it out.
What did you think of the battle with Ahsoka and Balin, Jimmy?
Well, anytime I get Balin in my life, I'm a happy man.
Yeah.
I have a serious man crush on this guy, but the battle was good. I love his power, and like I said, and man, Ahsoka, she's sitting there. It's kind of like Karate Kid, the end of Karate Kid Part 1, where he goes into the crane technique. She like pulls out her sabers and does a whole new technique with her sabers. I thought it was really cool. Just kind of shows, like Taylor said earlier, like her growth from the World Between Worlds and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. And again, Balin delivers another like one word, answer that was just absolutely perfect. And then they get after it. And, that fight scene I thought was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
He like grabs her hand. And then like the music changes, and he's just like, he's trying to connect with her. Like, he's like,
he's like, you can't defeat me. And she's like, I don't have to. And then all of a sudden, T6 comes flying behind. And
big Huang again leading the way. Still being chased by 3 ships.
Man, Huang was killing it again tonight, though, too.
Unreal.
David Tennant, just from start to finish, he had some good lines. And,
off we go then.
But this just goes back to the episode that we dropped about how important and influential the droids are. And I think that pretty much wraps up that scene. To be fair, there's not really that much that happened after that, apart from I think the last scene, correct me if I'm wrong now, was, again, it went back to Thrawn, and he said the plan all along was just to delay them, because he's desperate to get off the rock, obviously.
He really wants out of there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think it leaves us with that massive question of what is the cargo?
Yeah, the cargo bay is almost full. I'm like, what?
It's like undead sisters or something, maybe, or those pods.
Maybe they are helping the witches somehow. Something.
Something's going on. So
something that we don't know.
That's why I feel like the next episode's got to be an hour.
It's got to be long. I think it
there's
left
a whole storyline that we
answers.
don't even know.
Yeah, 100%. So just looking back on it, like I said, we've got more questions than we have answers. Again, just off the top of my head. We still don't know what Balon's up to. We don't know what the cargo is. We don't know how the heck the rebels are going to get off that planet if they're going to use Thrawn's ship or whatever. And we still don't know what Hera's going to do now, really, because she has no idea where they are.
Yeah, as I say, she can't get there. I think we're done seeing Hera for the foreseeable future. It's unfortunate. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing her and Jason or something a little bit more. But yeah, I think that might have been the end of.
I think you might be right.
I could be wrong, but it might be the end of Hera for this season. Maybe I don't know. But there's so many unanswered questions. I don't want them to rush next week.
No,
I want it to. I don't want it to be rushed. I want it to be season 2 or some kind of. Now that the writer strikes and stuff, we can start getting some news, and I feel like there's going to be a mad dash of news and studios trying to jump ahead of each other to get things out, try to get that money flowing again. So maybe we get something at the end of this. I don't know, but I just put great intro to Thrawn, defeat equals win. I also put, here's just where Jack and I think you and I might disagree. When she stabbed the troopers and they're shooting the troopers, they didn't do what Maroc did and have all that green mist come out of them. I think they were just troopers. So I don't know, but they were called night troopers though. Yeah. I could be wrong. Maybe it's something different, but I was kind of like, oh, I was talking with someone today about it, and they're like, because one of my friends came and had said he thought maybe they were undead, and then all the theories were coming in, and I was like, well, we'll see tonight probably. And I don't know. From what I saw, I don't think that they are, but who knows?
No.
Could even be a case that there's a mix. Some are alive still, and some are actually still dead.
Something. It could be. They fought. The Night Sisters fought together. They fought with the Undead Sisters and that battle on Dathomir. So who knows?
But that's another question as well. You just reminded me. What's the role of these great mothers? There's a bargain been dealt there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the thing is too is that's their homeland, or their home world. Some left originally to start, that new galaxy, but so they're more staying there, or more coming with them, or they're the only 3. I feel like there's, you guys have said, there are so many questions that I don't know.
How are they going to answer all of our questions? And now this new cargo hold question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That's I don't know.
Crazy episode. So for that, then I think that probably wraps the episode up. So we're going to start thinking about our scores and rankings, where we're going to put that with our loft cats. Taylor, I'm going to start with you. So give it a score out of 10. What would you give it and why?
I'm going to go with 8.5 because I liked how different this episode was. Like we said, maybe it's because this director she's used to directing that kind of stuff, like jumping back and forth. There was humor in it still. Like even Yang is like, "Oh, I hope I live to see the outcome of this fight." Like so casually, and there was lots of like I said earlier, the name drops, like the Lord Vader name drop and stuff like that. And Thrawn, you're watching him play this strategy game, on his projector. It's so cool. And you're right, Jimmy. We saw Thrawn. We saw his thinking, even though they lost to Ahsoka, he's like, no, this is a victory. And he's just so wise, and Thrawn is so cool. So yeah, 8.5. We'll go with 8.5 for me this time.
8.5. Cool.
Yeah, loft cats.
Side score. Cool. So 8.5 then from you, Taylor. We'll come straight to you then, Jimmy. What's your score and why?
Oh man, I always this is the hard part. I think I'm gonna go with 8. I really did enjoy it. Walking down here, I was kind of like, well, maybe it was a 7.5. And then when we start getting to talking, I get all fired up, and I'm all about my emotions. I'd be a terrible Jedi. Let my emotions rule me. But yeah, I'll say 8. I liked it. There's a lot of great things and a lot of stuff. I'm just going to echo what Taylor said. Hearing Asajj, his name live action was, I don't know why I got so, it was so, I know Taylor and you and I have talked about her a while. Seeing the T6 do what it was doing. Right after we just talked about that model from John Goodson, that was kind of neat. Just all the callbacks and seeing Anakin. They just packed a lot into this episode, and so I could probably go a little bit higher, but I feel like there's so many questions still, and I'm a little bit nervous. So I'm gonna stay with 8 for now, and I think that I wouldn't even mind. I know we're gonna do a show once it's all over. We'll go back and we'll have all of our scores, and we'll see if anything changes. But yes, I'm gonna go with 8. And I just think it was a solid episode. And that's just another thing, too, is there's no filler in any of these. 7 out of 7 has been driving the story forward. Great things are happening. It's so exciting. Like, if this is what we're going to get moving forward from Dave Filoni, like, oh, my goodness. Like, so good. So
bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Just more.
I'm probably on the fence with you, Jimmy. I reckon it just about scrapes an 8 from me. I might be being a bit pernickety because there's a few things, like I say, that sort of get to me. The whole lightsaber thing, the whole not ignorance of Ezra, but the fact that he's just happy to go along with it.
So chill.
It sort of just gets to me a little bit. It's like, you've been in exile for how many years, and you're just happy
like
to sit in an armored caravan. Yeah. Well, I wanted to use the term vegan Jedi.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but yeah. But I think what tipped it over the edge for me was, again, that Jedi shuttle and the work that John had put into it, and the scene with the ship, its maneuverability, and all the little Easter eggs along the way. And again, just seeing the characters develop in the episode is really good. Like Taylor said, there's a lot more questions being asked than there is answers being given at the minute, which is it's not frustrating. I think that's really good. But I just hope we don't go down the path of questions not being answered at all.
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
Mystery box kind of thing.
There's nothing worse.
Yeah, I don't want to make any predictions and stuff until, obviously that's what we're doing, but I'm concerned about the Balin arc. Like, I really am. Like, just for the fact
he's
that
such a good character.
Such a good character, and if they didn't decide to end that arc this season, I don't know.
Where's it going?
Yeah.
Maybe they just leave him on Peridia.
Yeah, maybe.
Possibly, that would be.
Or they'll just use some footage from previous takes like they did with Leia.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So,
if they have enough, so.
Who knows? So, as always then, thank you very much for joining us. Please keep in touch on the socials. Start sending us your predictions for the next episode. Send us your theories on what is Balon's automotive. What did you think about Thrawn's development and that? Again, please send it all on the socials. Explore the Force on Facebook, Explore the Force on Twitter and Instagram, and also Explore the Force on TikTok. We'll read out your comments as always on the next show, which we'll record this Sunday. So, from Taylor.
Whoopa, whoopa.
And from myself, I am one with the Force. The Force is with me and Jimmy.
And for all of us, we have spoken.
Awesome episode this weekend.
Yeah, that was so good. That was really, really good. That was fun.